This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
Way back when, in the Ring of Honor days, you had that series of incredible matches with CM Punk, and it felt like your careers were sort of like forks. You went to TNA, he went to WWE. Did you ever imagine, after you had such a run with TNA, that you too would wind up in WWE, or did you just sort of imagine that that's probably not in the cards for me?
The not in the cards thing never came into my head, just because just the nature of show business. Like I said, me being in it so long, you never know what's gonna change in the broader scale of the industry of the business. You know, like you really don't, and it's just a matter of not getting stuck up on these tropes. And I'm not a person that sits there and doesn't hope for the fear of being disappointed. Right. I think that's a stupid way to live. I think it's probably one of the most, crippling things I see a lot of people do to themselves is just, don't have too high hopes, because then that way you won't be disappointed. It's like, no, you should have high hopes, and you should, give it a shot, and trust me, disappointment doesn't last that long. And if you do hit it, that lasts forever. So, there's never been a time in my career where I was like, I'm never going to make it. It's not going to work out like that. It's going to work out. Like that was never an issue. Where it works out, that didn't matter to me, but I knew it was going to work out. And what I've learned is, eventually, if you keep going and you keep pushing, eventually you end up doing it all. It's like, you by hook or by crook, as long as you kind of stay stable in what you're doing, you're going to experience a lot more than you bargained for.
Well, what were the differences between working in NXT and TNA and then WWE? In other words, what were the differences between each company?
TNA, obviously, locker room's awesome. The backstage at times could be chaotic, but it was very, very like easy going in a good way, especially in TNA. Like a lot of people definitely wanted to work together to help each other and help get each other over, and very communal vibe. In NXT, I was kind of fortunate enough to kind of come into the same thing. Obviously, NXT being more of a developmental brand when I first got in, and still is an evolving version of that now. The amount of organization went up tenfold, obviously. So it was like that was a big adjustment with just seeing like just things just Johnny on the spot, getting done and stuff like that. And then when you get to WWE, it's just a whole other animal. It's just, TV production so much bigger, different cities, location issues. Well, I mean, there's always a new crisis every week, just based on the nature of work, having to take this giant circus, traveling every week to film it. And, you get used to working in a inherently chaotic environment just by the very nature of what it is. So, there's a lot. I will say this: the consistent thing is I can't say that I've ever been in a locker room my entire career that hasn't been stellar. And I've been very, very fortunate that from ROH to TNA to even now WWE, I've had nothing but just really great experiences with the guys in the locker room and the girls in the locker room, just the production, everybody in general. It's just I'm fortunate. I have a different look on things, and I may sound like a super positive motivational speaker, but it's one thing that I've always been thankful for.
One of the big differences between the companies from an outsider perspective to me would be that WWE travel schedule. Man, that's no joke. Was that tough to get used to? Or since you've been in show business your whole life, was it just another day?
No. Cause like I said, from like when I was 5, we would probably be, on average on a slow week, it'd be 3 shows a week, but on most times it would be like 5 shows a week. So,
wow.
For instance, like when I introduced my parents, said, hey, listen, I'm going to start pro wrestling. The first question on my dad's mouth wasn't, oh, what are you talking about? Or are you going to get yourself killed or whatever? It was just like, well, how much does you get paid? Oh, well, it's okay, cool. Well, where they pay for travel. Yeah. Okay. He just, pretty much handed me as a booking sheet and said, make sure all your bases are covered, make sure they take care of this and this, and I'll pick you up at the airport on Friday. So, yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about it. I really fell in love with Ring of Honor in that era where you and CM Punk were tearing it up, had that great trilogy that really helped pull the nose up on the company. Were you surprised that he came back? I mean, after such a long layoff, it felt like a lot of wrestling fans assumed, man, it's just out of his system. He's a goner, and now he's back. Were you surprised to see Punk come back?
No, No, and that's just if I know one thing about Punk, if he's out on something, he's out on it. You won't see him being around it. You won't see him looking at it. You won't see him staring at it. It's out of his life. And the minute I saw him on the Fox set, I knew his eyes were turning back towards it. And I think he was just looking for the right place and the right time, and he wanted to be happy with it. And I think he is. From what I've seen, and I would gather that he is. So I'm stoked for him, and I'm happy to see him back.
How important do you think to your career that trilogy of matches was?
Tremendously important, from a lot of reasons, both from a career standpoint and from a business standpoint. I mean, it was it was an opportunity to kind of, explore bounds that personally I had never really explored before, doing the longer format matches, doing the 60-minute matches. And, it got me acquainted to what I was able to do. And if I push myself and go out there and it was great creative effort, anytime you're in there with Punk, and, he's a tremendous creative mind, great collaborative, going back and forth is always very easy to come up with something great with him. So, yeah, it was a special time, and it's something I really enjoy. And I definitely do kind of highlight as, a very important point in my career.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.